Hey everyone, welcome back to Outways. Today I'm setting up my new diesel heater. This diesel heater I got from Vevor. It's a 5 kilowatt heater. This is everything I've done so far to the diesel heater to set it up and get it ready for camping. So the first thing I did is figure out the wiring. This heater comes with two exposed wires, a red and a ground wire. What I did is connected a cigarette lighter adapter by crimping the two ends together, and there's two fuses. There's a 10 amp fuse and a regular fuse here that came with the heater. If you guys are going to connect one of these 12-volt cigarette lighter plugs to the diesel heater, it's very important to get the 10 amp version, not the 5 amp, because the 5 amp will burn out right away. The next thing I did is get these stands. So this heater comes with pretty short legs. So what I did is just screwed on these two 2x4s that I painted black so they don't suck in any moisture and they look a lot better. So now that the heater has more clearance and it's more stable, I connected this exhaust pipe and this air inlet. So for the air inlet, I bring it right under here. So when you put this air inlet here, it comes with a filter. So the filter has a thread and it's just a mesh filter, just so that the heater doesn't suck in any debris. So once you screw it on like that, it's on there. You don't even have to clamp it down or anything. And then you can just zip tie it to here and mount it. Next thing here that I have clamped onto the bottom is this exhaust pipe. Now, this exhaust pipe also comes with a muffler that quiets down the exhaust sound, which is just a consistent whooshing sound. Depending on the application, you can bend this exhaust any way you want. But for now, I'm not using it for anything, so I'm just going to have it out. Next thing I want to talk about is this hose that it came with. Now this is maybe a 2-foot hose, and it's pretty short. So if you put this on, clamp it on, that's all you're going to get to your tent. So I'd recommend getting a longer, drier hose. This is a 3-inch hose, and I'm pretty sure Amazon has a bunch of these for diesel heaters that extend up to your rooftop tent or to your tent anywhere if you don't want to have the heater right beside your tent to be ticking away in your ear. So these two pieces just go onto the hose like this. You just clamp it on and then snap this in place, and then you can feed this up to your tent just to disperse the air a little bit better, just like so. It also comes with this exhaust insulation. This is a fiberglass exhaust insulator, and it just reflects the heat and keeps everything inside the exhaust so it doesn't burn anything up. It's just like this little sock, really nice to have. You can just put it right on. You can see I haven't yet. This will make sure you don't light anything on fire if you have dry grass or leaves under your pipe, or if you have this for indoor applications like in a trailer or a truck, where you have this exhaust pipe going out through the body and you can wrap this around it. But it's not mandatory. So it comes with a bunch of these clamps and mounts. You can kind of DIY this heater. The reason I really like it is because you can get creative with it and make it perfect for your application, but you just have to do some creative thinking and figuring out what you want to do. When filling up, this heater has a 5-liter fuel tank, and they recommend to fill it up anywhere above 20%. It also has this control panel right here, which you can control from this remote, which is really nice. So you can have this down and be in your rooftop tent or anywhere. You can just turn it on and off from here, and then you can increase or decrease the intensity as well, or the temperature. There's also an app on your phone you can get to access these, which is really nice too. Now to power this heater, I need a power station with me. So I'm using this Jackery 290 power station. But I would plug it right into here, right into this 12-volt outlet. Now, how much electricity does this heater use? I haven't been able to drain a full tank, but I know this heater uses around 10 to 12 watt hours of battery. So this 290 amp hour battery will be drained in about 25 to 30 hours, which is really good. So theoretically, this battery should last 2 to 3 nights with this diesel heater. It depends on the intensity you set, but setting this heater anything above level 3 is just going to cook you alive in your tent, so you don't need it any higher. Now that everything's set up, let's move outside and test it. Now that everything's set up, I'm going to plug it right into here, into my power station. Turn on the DC. You can see that lights up right there. Power station to the side. And then I have a remote. Just turn it on. Just like that. It's going to say start heating. And then I'm going to set it to manual mode, and then I'm going to set it to level 3. There's no point of having it on level 10. It usually takes around 3 minutes to get this thing start heating, and it draws quite a bit of power at first. So if I look right here, it's drawing 50 watts right now. It got up to 140 as the highest for me. So let's just keep an eye on that. So it's going to jump a bit, but it's not going to go up past 140. So a lot of power stations don't actually work for diesel heaters. I'm going to be making a separate video on that for the power stations I have tried and the ones that have worked. But this Jackery has worked for sure, and it works great. So now that it's been a couple minutes, you can hear now that it's starting to get started. It's ticking away right now. That should be the fuel pump, I believe. So it's going to tick like that consistently throughout the night, throughout its operation. And you can feel the exhaust fumes coming out. And then the fan is going right now, but it's still pretty cold. Now the air is starting to warm up a little bit, and the intensity is starting to kick up with the exhaust. You can hear it really blowing out and feel it. So now I would say the heater is working. When you first start these things up, it could take 1 or 2 tries that it shuts off. It could be a little smelly because they're new, but once you get it going, it runs pretty well. As you can see by my breath, it's cold out here, so this heater has a lot to heat. So now let's check the output. So the power output right now is about 30 watts as it's starting to get going. Once it's in operation, about 5 to 10 minutes later, it should get down to around 10 watts. You can see it dropping down right now. And now it's in operation. You can see that it's about 12 watts, 11, 12, 13. So now I'm going to take off my mic and I'm going to let you guys hear how loud it is to judge for yourself if it's going to be too loud for you camping. It really depends. You really have to try it out to sleep with it. But, I'm not a very light sleeper, so this shouldn't bother me at all. It's kind of a nice white noise. But it really depends on what you kind of prefer. And if this is far away from you and you kind of have a sleeping bag over yourself and stuff, I don't think it's too bad. But some people complain about the sound. So this is what it sounds like. So now I want to try out the muffler. I want to see if the muffler actually makes a big difference or it really doesn't do anything. So this is a hollow muffler, but it has some fiberglass fibers in there that you can see on the sides. So it should be able to suppress the sound a little bit. So I'm going to put on this muffler just like that. And yeah, that does make it a lot quieter. So you can hear the difference there. Here, take it off. Stop shaking. The exhaust is really hot, so you don't want to touch it with your hands when it's running. But that's no exhaust. Here, I'll bring my mic to it. Or no muffler, sorry. And then here is with the muffler. So I definitely recommend running it with the muffler. That quiets down that humming a lot more. And it's kind of a lower pitch now. And the machine ticking away, it's really not bad. It's just the fuel pump running. Nothing too irritating. I think this is going to be really nice for camping. I've really been looking forward to one of these diesel heaters. I have thought about getting a hot tent with the wood stove, but I figured one of these diesel heaters would be a lot nicer to have, and it's a really dry heat. So in the rooftop tent, you don't have a bunch of condensation building up mold, especially if you can't dry it out in a shop after, which I cannot. So this diesel heater is going to be really nice to have. I'm going to be testing this diesel heater in a future video really soon, so stay tuned. So let's look at the output now. It's drawing around 13, 16, 13, 12 watts of power. So not too bad at all. This power station I'm really happy with. It's really doing good. It's tiny. It's a little bit more basic, but it's doing the job perfectly fine, unlike the other power stations. So yeah, I will be making a video on that, talking about what power stations will power this diesel heater, because I did have to deal with finding the correct one that will power it from the DC charger. A lot of people also have AC to DC adapters to plug it in so that any power station works, but I didn't want to deal with any of that. I just wanted a straight cord and to have the proper power station for the job. So yeah, now I can feel the heat. To put it in perspective, the heat, like if I put my hand here, I can barely hold it. I can hold it for maybe a second or two before it burns my hand and I have to move it. So it's really not too loud right now. It's drawing around 12 to 16 watts of power, so should drain my battery in about 25 hours, which is perfect for me. 2 nights easy with the evening tent heated perfectly. The muffler is making the exhaust really quiet, and this heater is running really smooth. Stay tuned for more videos. I'm going to be testing how long the fuel lasts, how long this Jackery will last, which power stations work and which power stations don't for these type of diesel heaters. I'm going to be testing this in the winter conditions and seeing how it heats up regular tents and how reliable it really is. So I think this Vevor heater, for this price, you can't go wrong with it. It's the same as the expensive ones, it's just a lot cheaper, and I'm really happy with it. I love the way it looks. It's not too loud. It's kind of a nice satisfying sound. It's just like a little tick. The exhaust you can barely hear. It's just like a white noise. If you guys are interested in getting one of these or a power station, I'm going to leave links in the description below for everything. The power station is not sponsored, I just recommend it. And then this heater. One last thing, so I'm going to turn it off, but just from farther away. Around 10 feet away, I'm just going to press the off button. And just like that, it's going to stop heating. So Vevor recommends to let this thing run connected to the power after you press stop heating for about 3 to 5 minutes until after it stops working. Then I can disconnect it to avoid confusion, whatever that means. I'm just going to keep it connected for a bit longer, and I'm just going to make sure everything's running smooth, let the exhaust cool off before I put it away. Alrighty, now that I'm back inside it, I wanted to wish you guys all a happy new year. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. See you later.